Welcome to Passionate Mark Podcast.
Hi, I'm Mark Barner, and you're listening to Passionate Mark Podcast. I love having guests. I usually do a lot of podcasting by myself and to speak to myself. But today, I finally have someone to speak to and someone to go back and forth. And I've been cheating a little bit because I already know her. I've been doing a few clairvoyant sessions. If you don't know what that is, it's kind of like a, how can I say, European term for a psychic. But I don't only see, dead people. I see the past and I see the future. Today, I actually back and forth talked to one of my clients you're going to meet now. And her name is Tara Johnson. Welcome, Tara.
Hi, thanks, Mark. I'm so happy to talk to you again.
Yeah, me too. And I mean, we've been doing this a couple of times before, but it hasn't really been recorded for anyone else than us. We've been more or less doing sessions, and trying to see if there's anything I can help with you for you, and see what I saw in your past and your future. Bear in mind, for the people listening and also for you, Tara, I don't often remember everything that I said in a session. Very often it's around 50% of what's been said. So it's really strange sometimes for me hearing other people be like, oh, you remember I said this thing? And I'm like, actually not. But I remember the theme was more or less this thing. And then sometimes things pops up. But I think it's because I'm channeling a little bit when I do it, or a lot sometimes. And so it kind of just what I have left of that is just a feeling of what we talked about, and not like specifics that I've said. But, I practice trying to remember more, so maybe I will remember more. But yeah, I mean, the reason why we started wanted to do this podcast, you remember me asking you why we should do this?
Why we should do this?
Yeah, well, how did it start for us to do a podcast together?
I have been dying for people to, or maybe to know if people are on the same page as me. Like, my thought, I just am going through something so new right now. Like, it's such a big change in my life and with my beliefs and stuff. And I don't know if you remember, like, how we met, but that was such a huge part of why I wanted to talk to you.
Yeah.
Like, I sent a random message on the internet, and you reached out to me and sent me a 15-minute message. And you described myself and my personality in a way that I hadn't ever heard it, but it was exactly like it felt so true. Like, that was me. I knew that was me when you said it, and I was like, there's something here.
And there was. I mean, I'm glad you received that message the way it was. For me, it's always odd. You're not the first person that I see some energy wise, and you reached out for a little bit of support. And I felt like you didn't really, I don't know how long that message was on that spiritual forum on Facebook, but I just felt like you were hanging on there. I think there's definitely like a day or two has went by, and I didn't see a lot of comments on there. I was just like, well, okay, I'll, give my best. And I don't know exactly what I was about to say, but I was just like, I'm just going to open a message for you because I feel like you deserve this. And then, yeah, I just tuned in and it came through me, and I never know if it's going to fit you or not. But luckily, I mean, I think my statistics is like my own personal statistics, because I'm also very critical about myself. I think because I'm also very human. So I'm guessing it's around 95%, and maybe in some cases 90%. So I think that's a pretty good statistic. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who have heard something I've said and they're like, it doesn't really resonate. But some of them come back to me maybe like 3 months later, and they're like, oh my God, you won't believe what just happened. The thing that you were wrong about actually just came true. And then I'm like, I'm just really humbled that I'm able to do this. And, I have an education in doing it, but, I still was born with the gifts, or at least I found out how to use my gift after many years with a strict dad and training my empathy towards others to avoid pain from my dad, that he would be harsh. And so I would train myself learning how can I optimize myself better so I would avoid him hitting me or locking me in or something like that. So that's kind of like how I cultivated my gifts through a lot of pain. But now I can give back, and I can't give myself the readings that I can give you, but I do remember that it was very intense for me. Also, I mean, you said 15 minutes message, and to my knowledge, it could have been 30 minutes. I mean, I just know I just went on and like said a lot of stuff to you. But I think also you came back to me on it, yeah, right? You did confirm some of the things, and then I did a new message to you.
So I waited a few months. I just sat with that message. It was what I needed to hear. And then after a few months, like your name just popped into my head, and I was like, I need some help, and I would like to explore this. And you felt right. It felt so good talking to you. South Beaver, Utah. Yeah. You should go. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm pretty open about everything. I went through a huge, like, religious fall apart. I stepped back from my religion and I like blew up my life for a second. Because I thought that if I didn't like religion, then maybe I was a bad person. And if you think you're a bad person, you do bad things. But I realized I didn't like it. I wasn't a bad person. I was like exactly perfect. And I kind of came back to my religion through that with like that viewpoint. And it's just been so beautiful and changed my life. And I read a lot of books and podcasts. And so I can like pull in a lot of different ideas instead of like a lot of the people around me. I get a lot of information from the same places. And anyways, I felt so confused. How could I have these two real beliefs? And I didn't really have anybody to talk about it. And I just felt so crazy. I felt crazy in my body. I felt like I was like living this perfect life on the outside, but screaming in my mind. Like anger, depression, like, yeah, I lived in a lot of shame and sorrow.
And doubts. I'm guessing there's a lot of doubt in that situation because you're coming out of one religion and something else is calling you at the same time, and there's a lot of identity in religion as well, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was a lot, but I didn't have anybody to talk to about it. And spirituality is like, I'm loving it. I feel a lot of truth in that. So yeah, I reached out and I'm so glad I did. I just didn't have anywhere to go. And finally I feel like I'm finding a path.
And I find that so interesting, by the way. I love how your eyes in this video, your eyes glow so much and on the green background. I wanted to say when we just started the meeting, but now I'm remembering it. And now you talk about this, how you have like an awakening. And I mean, if anybody listening or watching this, because we're not sure if the video is just going to end on YouTube or not, but for people watching, I think if they have some sense of an empath gift of feeling other people when they look at them, I would be the first to sit and look at this video and be like, oh my God, she has so many gifts. And is she even using them? Like, is she doing anything about it? Because that you can just see it on you just sitting there. I don't need much other than like sometimes I walk past people And when I see some energetic work like that, and I'm like, please tell me you're using your gifts for something, because
well, that's another part of it. I have so much doubt about myself.
Yes. And I think that's a beautiful journey, because when you see that, you understand when you have doubt and you've gone through all this pain and all this frustration and feeling lost, and and you can be found in spirituality, you can be found in Christianity, you can be found in Islam. It's not really, that's not what's important about, I think, this awakening going on worldwide, and also me and my clients, and you and I as well. But the importance is that we feel something is calling us. Because I have friends that are saying that Christianity and the Bible is awakening them, so they feel more awakened by that. And to me, that's very counterproductive. From where I come from, the spirituality was really, really open to accepting pretty much everything, understanding that we can forgive everything. And of course, we have to also have boundaries. So we can forgive and we can also have boundaries at the same time. But that doesn't mean that we accept people keep overstepping our boundaries. So it really is like a work of balance. But whereas the Bible is just like, think this way, do this way, don't do this. This is like also in the Quran, this is haram, you don't do this, that's forbidden. These types of things I feel is super limited. But I grew up with a childhood where there's very strict rules of what you can and cannot do. So every time there's like a fascist or like total control type of a state mindset or a government mindset, like don't worry, we have you, like we'll take care of you, just do what we say. I'm like, wait a minute, something is off here. There's no freedom. If someone tells me what to do, that's not freedom. I mean, if people have the best intentions, that's beautiful. And you can definitely feel that when you start stepping into spirituality. I think you can do that in other religions as well. When you understand the spiritual aspects of things, you understand that when people come with love, you can recognize it because it resonates. And I think also part of that is when we don't feel that, we don't understand that, and we're struggling to see what people's intentions are, if they're loving, and we can be in doubts of it a lot of the time. It's usually, and it comes back to you right now, when we have doubts in ourselves. So when we doubt ourselves, or we have a hard time understanding our gifts and how amazing life can be, and even we can have a good life and then have things, and nobody's complaining, I have a job, things are going okay, but still something is missing. I don't know what it is, I just don't feel I'm there yet. And that's where I think spirituality, or in some cases religion, comes in, and it slowly teaches us to love ourselves. So I would choose I try to look like him, but Jesus is very good at teaching you, especially if you read the scripture that's not in the Bible. There's something called Mindfulness or something like that. There's a scripture of him talking about you should not search for God outside of you, but within. And of course, the church didn't put it in the final Bible, because that kind of goes against their idea of you go to the church, you donate to the church, and you can only find God in the church. And so they had kind of like patented God. And so in this way, they can dumb us down and think like God can only be found in churches. But if people think that way and they're happy, I'll let them be happy, because that's more important. That's less stressful. But I do believe that the more you understand that your connection to God is not because of what you say or what you do, and he will not cast shame on you and, do bad things to you to punish you, but in fact, he will love you unconditionally. And he will always support you no matter the doubt you have, no matter what you're going through. And people are like, what about Hitler? Or what about, pedophiles? And what about people killing children in Palestine? They will all be forgiven. I know it's crazy, but when you look at spirituality, you understand that this is not, like, this life we're living is not only about this life. But if you're an idiot in this life, there's a karmic religion, or not religion, there's a karmic rule saying that, if you make imbalance, you would need to then balance that out either in the next life or in the same life. And in this way, it's kind of like give and take. If I used to get beaten up when I was in my other life, and I was always giving and I was serving, let's say I was one of the disciples of Jesus, I would always be trying to be a good disciple, and I would always try to do all these things to make people happy and I never really felt like nobody really appreciated me enough because I didn't feel seen or whatever it was. In the next life, I can maybe be very harsh to all the people that didn't give love back and be that type of a person that kind of balances out in a different way and always says no and always gives resistance. And you can be like, who wants to live that? It's a horrible life. But when you look at the karmic rule of it, you understand that, and that's the Hinduism part of it, but it's also from other religions as well. I believe all religions stem from the same spiritual source. And so to me, it's not important what God it is. To me, it's more the forgiveness, the love, the freedom, and the trust in the universe, the God, the gods, the planets, whatever you believe in. But when you tap into that and you understand that you are loved, unconditionally loved, and all they want for you is to give you what you wanted before you came and always serve you. And you will always, because you're being served so much, people sitting out there, but I am being served things I don't deserve. And you could be like, but you don't know what you deserve and what you don't deserve. Only from this life. And you can be like a victim of this life. And when you understand how to step out of the victimness and step out of the self-hatred and the self-criticism of saying I'm not good enough, but leaning back and say, what if I am good enough? What if I'm just exactly how I should be? And all the hardship and all the pain I went through, maybe that was just to teach me to be appreciating my current situation. Because when we do that, we step up in high vibration. So it's not really just you saying, oh, I had this thought, and so now God or the universe loves me. No, it's just always been a fact. You've always been loved. But now you finally felt it, you connected with it. And not only that, other people who have love will now see you, Tara, and be like, oh my God, I want to get to know her. She has something to give. I want to learn what it is. I want to know more about her because there's something there. And that's also what I see in you. There's so much potential. And, that's been my blessing and my curse as well. And, always I've been dating potential my whole life. And also loving the potential and the person that for what they were. But at some point I would realize, oh my God, I'm just dating the potential. That I'm actually not dating the parts that I see they are, because I am always in the future of, the empathy is always seeing they have this big heart, but maybe the heart is not trained to love yet in that amount that it needs to be that big heart later on. And to become that, you need to go through a lot of pain. And I know that you've been through a lot of pain from what you just shared as well. So there's so much, waiting for you still. And I know I also said a few things in our sessions of things that I believe you could be great at, but it's also your path to find out how you can do more of that. Yeah, but I'm very curious about, if you want to share it, of course, what is the biggest pain you went through that you can, if you can, and maybe you can't, if you can thank that pain today, what would it be? Like, what pain happened for you to sit here now and be at least understanding life in a different perspective?
Yeah, for sure. I grew up strict religious and lots of rules around that. But I got introduced to pornography as a child, and I didn't ever dare tell anybody. And I knew that I was going to hell, and I just kept that inside of me.
As fear, or as a secret, or did you feel fear around it as well?
Secret, shame, like so much shame. I felt so dark and disgusting. I knew that even though I lived nice and did nice things and acted like a nice person, that the real me was this horrible, destined for hell person. And I lived in that shame for 25.
That's a long time.
Yeah. So there were a lot of things I had to work through. I had a lot of anger, and I think the anger is what got me to start wanting to change. I was so mad at my family all the time and my kids. I would yell, and I would never do that around anybody else, but I just knew it was so dark that I had to start speaking up, and I reached out to my amazing husband and started trying to figure out what was going on. Yeah. And also, like, it was always a problem for boys. It was never like something that was talked about that girls did. So I was like, I was the only worst person in the whole world. It's so sad to think about, but like, I actually like to share that. I want people to know that, like, I think that God or the light or whatever is there with you the whole time, like you said earlier. It's us pushing that away. It's me, like, making myself live in hell. So, like, something I want to speak up about in my culture is like that very thing. No
It's a
matter
beautiful
what, God,
share.
yeah.
So do you feel that after you start speaking about your shame, that it made it worse or better?
Oh, I felt so much lighter. It was like the weight of the world was lifted up.
Right.
Yeah.
I know it's an emotion that I can have, but it usually stems from someone, a parent or someone who has authority over me telling me that I'm wrong, that I'm not okay to feel this feel, and that a lot of emotions are not okay, and even thoughts are forbidden, which is kind of insane, because if we forbid thoughts to happen, it would be like me saying, don't think of a giraffe. Oh, you just thought about a giraffe. It's wrong. That's so wrong. Now you will be judged till the end of the days because you thought of a giraffe. I just told you not to think about it and you did it anyway. Look at you. What are we gonna do with you? You're such a problem child. It's insane to even do that, because it's impossible. It's like telling someone trying to quit smoking by telling them, don't smoke, don't smoke, don't smoke, don't smoke. They're going to think about smoking all the time to figure out what they're not supposed to do. And so, it won't be helpful. And there's a lot of shame, and there's a lot of lack of love, if you ask me, in these religious texts. I, again, support people who wants to believe in this and they find comfort in it, but I just want them at least to have the facts. And the facts are, it's written 60 years after. I don't know. Could you cite something you said 2 weeks ago or like 3 years ago? Because I can't.
I mean, though, I do a lot of research in this area as well, and big events like 9/11, we could recite 9/11, like big things that happen. People can carry that on. And I can see your point of view as well. And I can see the beauty of someone also living the religion. Think of like the strength and power they have to like hold on to something like that. Like, if that's what they believe, I feel like all of us, like our highest power is all of our highest power. We're all believing the same thing with different words in a way. Spirituality may be a little bit different, but I feel like to me it connects a few more dots. And like when people are reading the scriptures, just like politics and things that are happening today, they're from man.
Yes, written by man.
And I hope that people are now like, maybe I need to find some more resources. Maybe I don't just stick to this. I open up like to my remembering of the truth or what feels right.
I find that so beautiful. You mentioned that, my remembering, because we all have it in our DNA. We all know what I call the light codes. We all know what the codes of light is, and we all remember things that we weren't even alive when it happened, and yet we can reactivate this. And a lot of spiritual people that I meet, they see it this way. They don't always understand it, but I do, because I walk the walk as well. But I mean, that's how I interpret it. People sometimes only have to open the book of knowledge. They don't have to read through it. Just open it, go through it quickly. You have the gist of it. That's all you need. A lot of people just buy they buy a book and it's going to be on their shelf for a long time. And it might be some big subject, you really have to get into, but something intrigues them enough to buy the book and, look through it, but not really start reading the whole thing, because the passion about reading the whole thing is not there. But holding the book, keeping the book, is almost like having the key to the knowledge, and we can tap into it just by having the book. I remember this in my school years. When I was afraid of forgetting a book, I would put it under my pillow and sleep on it. And so I would feel this knowledge going through my pillow and into my head and just into my body, that this all-knowing, having the trust that I could find a lot of knowledge from that. And of course, I also read the books, but it gave me some trust in that I will learn or understand everything that comes through these books. And so in many ways, what I believe in my spirituality, we have access to the, what is it called? In Danish, it's Akashian archives, but that's not the English word for it. But it's like, imagine a enormous library of everything that happened, all the emotions connected to it, and all the visuals. Like literally all our perceptions stored, and we can access it every time, all the time, if we want to. And some people actually learning this to be the only skill that they have. They ask through the Akashian archives. I wish I could, Akkadian? No.
Akashic?
Akashic records. That's what it's called in English. And to me, I mean, it's super important to understand that knowledge doesn't come only from just opening a book. It comes from intuition, reading other people, trusting nature, trusting the universe. And with your story, I just want to reverse it. Some people have been in spirituality for years, and they find the Bible and they read it and they're like, this is the answer. And so it can go vice versa. It can go the opposite way around. And I don't know who's going to be most brainwashed or indoctrinated, but I think a lot of people seek the more religious text for the reason that it says what you're supposed to think and what you shouldn't think. And when you come from spirituality, you're a little bit more open to interpretation. And it's kind of nice that someone tells you what to do and what you shouldn't do. Especially if nobody can read the Bible without interpreting the Bible. That's impossible. Any religion, you have to interpret it to understand it. The way you view the world, everything is an interpretation. So it's impossible to read something and all get the same information out of it. And so I think a lot of people actually, come from a background like you, and they found out, wait a minute, I don't have to be judged. I don't have to live with shame. I don't have to not be good enough. But I can actually be good enough no matter what I do. And I believe what you actually did, and you could have done it in any religion, is that you took away all the things of judgment and, cursing, everything that was cursing you. And you understood that you were unconditionally loved and you were free to do whatever you want. Catholics really like this. They always can be forgiven if they just go to church and they ask for forgiveness or what it is. I don't remember what it is. Yeah, confess. Thank you. And so, I mean, you can do that to yourself, confessing, being honest. I mean, I live with so much shame myself, but I'm aware of it and you are aware of yours. And I think that's so beautiful that you have taken this huge step into something that is in many ways much larger than any religion I know, because it's much more abstract.
That was the holding the book is something I needed to hear, because I always feel like I'm forgetting things, and that's like one of my biggest fears. But I feel like I've come to understand that as things come up, also that knowledge of how to take care of the problem or whatever it is also shows up.
But tell me, in your spiritual journey, did you have some attraction to spirituality before you stepped out of the church?
No, not really. I did. I had a friend who introduced me to something about divine femininity, and I did some meditation, and some of it felt good, and I was like, this is really good info. And I didn't agree or necessarily understand all of it. So then I was like, this is good, but it's not quite it. So I just expanded a little bit further. And every time I'm like, well, some of this is good, but it's not exactly.
Yeah, like I said, there's some calling in you trying to search for something. And the closer you get, the better it feels. It kind of gives you that sense of knowing when you meet the knowledge, more or less. It's like reading the book that has, maybe that's a lot of people who are religious. They read the book and they're like, oh my God, that's what I've been thinking and feeling, and I feel seen, I feel loved, I feel understood. And I just find it so interesting that we as people intuitively are called to have this understanding and knowing, and we can get lost into spirituality, and we can get lost into the Bible or the Quran or Hinduism or whatever. But I still think, you can be found in the same place again. We have a tendency as humans to condemn the thing that didn't work, but we forget that's part of the journey that took us to where we are now. And so all the mistakes and all the trauma that we created in our process, we can condemn that and say, like, I was wrong back then. I was not the right person. I should have done better, or, the shame or frustration over who I was. But in fact, you needed to go through that pain and frustration to become what you are now. And so whatever it is that you like about you, you have to thank every step of the way. And that even means if you had a bad boyfriend that would hit you, or a childhood, or sexual abuse, or anything, you were like, Mark, you were insane. Why would I thank like the rapist, or why would I thank all these things? But actually, it's part of your awakening. And it's only in this life it feels so extreme and so wrong and so unfair. But in the greater scale of things, and I think, I try to tell people the best way to kind of get your research on this is looking at near-death experiences and kind of watch like 50 or 100 of them like I have, and understand it's almost the same story every time. There's some key factors in all of it. And when you understand the key factors, it's like you're always unconditionally loved. You always have someone, when you come back, your family is always going to be there. You're always going to be held, supported, all these things. You're not alone, which is a new point. You're not alone at all. Even if you think you're sitting here alone, you're not divided. You're connected to all people all the time, all living things all the time. When you die, you don't disappear. Some people have many lives. Some people choose to have less lives. But all in all, this is just the school of life, and we're here to learn. And usually, that's my channeling, the last one here. I believe we're here, because I channel it so many times over, to collect emotions, to understand. It's like the way they were showing this to me, it's like 99% of going to heaven or the other side or the universe is love. It's like the glue that sticks everything together. That's the love. It's like not even love that you have to think about. It's like the air that you breathe. It's so easy just to be in that love state. So the 1% that's not love, it's so hard to know all the little details of that 1% because it's so complicated compared to love. So that's what, anyway, the way they explained it to me. So they were saying, if you really want to be doing a good job on earth, you make sure to go through every emotion of things that happen to you, because then you have this insight. And the most beautiful thing is, like, the things that you went through now, you're able to help people going through the same transition, the same trouble, even though you have a version of spirituality that I don't, or someone else don't, but you can give them what they're in need of anyways. You're not going to have the wrong spirituality. You're not going to have the wrong religion. If there's someone who wants to be awakened, it's part of your journey to help them. And even if you taught them something wrong, that will still be part of their journey, because it felt right to them and they believed it, and they were lied to, but you maybe were aware or weren't aware, but that's also part of their journey. So understanding every little twist and turn there is in life is really either a lesson or a gift. And when we start seeing life like this, it's going to feel much more easy. I speak a lot in my podcasts, and I'll you have to interrupt me if you have something you want to say sometimes. You carried pain for a long time, just to give you the word back and not talk all the time. You said that was the shame. In what ways? Because maybe there's someone sitting out there who looked at porn, who's religious and carries this shame, or, turned on by something that they feel is wrong to be turned on by, things like that. How would that show up in your life? How did it limit you?
It limited me through my religion greatly. I felt like I couldn't, for me, like that should have been something I talked to somebody else about and like used forgiveness for. And my personality and who I was, this picture perfect. I know how to make things look perfect and act perfect and inside when I'm like dying. So I never was so bad. I was a person who lived within the rules. And if I broke those rules, then it was like the deepest, darkest thing I could ever do. And so I was living trapped. I felt like I was trapped inside my body. And I didn't have the words to know what that was. I just felt crazy all the time. And I felt like I couldn't truly give advice. I couldn't truly speak up because like what was underneath I was really a bad person. I really believed that I was like the worst person. Saying it now it's insane.
So you don't
Like,
you don't feel like
everything I
that. You say saying that feels insane. That's because right now at the moment you know that's not true. Yeah.
believe, no, that's not true. Yeah, I had an experience where I felt only what I can describe as God's love for me, like in my body. And after that, I mean, it felt like it should have been an immediate change, but I still have a lot of work to do.
We all do.
But once you feel love like that and then understand it for other people, it's like I'm such a loser now because I can't ever jump on one person's side. I'm always like, well, but yeah, they might have got hurt, or like, you know, it's just I see things from so many different perspectives now that I'm like this, I don't know, balance. I don't know.
I think you know.
I feel very open to loving other people. And if there was a religious book, I feel like the only word on the pages should be love.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
I feel really good. I feel like I have a lot to learn. And I do have those down days where I think I'm failing. And then I realize that just puts me back into perspective to see like how far along the path I've gone.
Yeah, we tend to forget that. I mean, if there was a trail or like a trail of breadcrumbs, it probably wouldn't work like Hans and Gretel, but at least the birds will be very full all the time. But I mean, if we could see that trail, and I think that's why journaling is a beautiful thing where you like kind of go through this thing. I have one of my other spiritual friends here in Denmark. She found her old journal. She was like 16. And the stuff that she wrote in it had the same theme and issues she had today. And she had this feeling that these were new issues and new feelings that she's just currently now struggling with. And she realized like she struggled, and she's like 40 something, and she's struggling with the same things she did when she was 16 or 15 or whatever it was. And I find that very interesting. And if you don't do journaling ever, you won't have, you don't even believe the things that you believe. And like you believed for a long time that you weren't good enough. And anyone watching this would say, that's crazy, we would think. Like even you said that now. I mean, that's crazy. You wouldn't believe. Look at you, like you're radiant. Like there's so much things going on in your life, and you know, beautiful things, and even some tough things. But I mean, it all stems from this source of learning and understanding and want to do better. But I think that's also, you know, the dangers of spirituality. People think that I have to keep doing this. I have to do the yoga every morning, the journaling, the affirmations, you know, then I have to dance like at least a couple times a week. And then, you know, I'm trying to do this new prayer thing, and I have to go to ayahuasca in the forest and do like, you know, no, that's not spirituality. That's part of it. But it's like saying that you have to go to church to believe in God. No, it's not going into church. Like then people will keep coming and going every day in church because if I don't do it, I'm not good enough. I'm not loved. That's not how it works. You go there because you want to hear the preach something, right? And so you go there to be inspired. You go there to find your home, like to connect, to set an intention really. But we know that we can do all of that by sitting down in prayer and doing something about it. Like not accepting that we have to achieve something or do something. We can even have days without prayer. It doesn't mean that we're not good enough. It just means that, you know, it could be a good way to set intention. Are you not happy with your day right now? Maybe you should sit down and just spend a few minutes with yourself so you can feel the emotions going through you, because the emotions going through you are just trying to teach you something. And instead of being chased by them, I see a lot of people just running around all day long trying to make everyone happy. I used to be one of them. Sometimes I still am. But just trying to make everyone happy, make sure everything is settled. The kids are picked up, you know, buy the things that they want, you know, the dinner should be on the table, you know, all these things. And then yet in the end of the day, sit back with this emotion like, oh my God, what a day. That was crazy. I'm so tired right now. How is that a great day? Like if you're not in it. I mean, I know we can't be in it all the time, but if we're not in it, like if we're not enjoying it, I see people all the time. They spend 5 days a week looking forward to Friday, Saturday, like Saturday or Sunday, right? 5 days, a wasted life. They come home, they eat, and they go to bed. And they usually even eat a crappy meal. So that's not even joyful, a good meal. And when they think they eat like, I'm so joyful, it's a wine and it's candy or something like that, right? And they're wondering why they have headaches or feel miserable. I mean, you're eating wrong, you're living wrong. I'm saying wrong, I just mean I put judgment on. If you're not happy, it's because something is wrong, right? And so I'm not saying happiness should be constant. It's definitely not in my life. But I mean, I understand that you should at least once a day connect with some kind of joy. Even for a moment, be like, oh my God, that's sunset. And by the way, sun is down. I'm just going to turn on the lights.
Let me move mine.
There we go.
Maybe.
Yeah, so at least once a day, have something that you're joyful about, that you look forward to, that you're appreciating or stepping into this intention of enjoying something. And I find that to be a very spiritual practice, to be aware that most of your life, it's gathering good memories and also harsh ones. That's funny how we always remember either trauma or the most joyous moments in our life. But everything in between is kind of a blur. So it kind of means that's where the big lessons are. And, there can be something in the blur that's really important that maybe you're not that grateful for because you don't think about it a lot. But you could be grateful, like the boring school you went to, so you became super creative and you build this business from that because you went to this boring school. It doesn't really give you a lot of pain when you think about it. It's just like it was just tedious and boring. I just wanted to do something with my life. And that can also be super important. But I just wish we would get more credits to ourselves for going through this. I mean, thank your legs, your feet, your nails, your hair for carrying you through all this. There's a lot of history in that. Just there. That part, when that grew out, what happened in my life, I'm carrying it all the time. My skin, my cells, everything that I'm doing, everything I buy during my journey is part of my emotional system or my thoughts or my feelings that, there's so much to be grateful for. That's why a gratitude journal is also super powerful. So, but do you do any of those practices that I talk about yourself?
Yeah, I recently started journaling. I remember things better when I put it on paper and also able to come back to it. And the gratitude, living in gratitude, that has really changed my life. I feel like a lot of the things I learned through my religion, I learned outside of it again. And then I was like, oh yeah, that was already there.
Yeah, nice.
But it is when you put the lesson with the experience that it makes a bigger impact. The fact that I lived in shame for so long just opened me up to like so much more compassion for people. And people can't understand that unless they went through what I went through. So everybody's perspective is so different and it's so needed.
The trauma that you went through, would you, I don't know if you're there yet, but would you have wished it wasn't there?
I mean, for that little girl, I would have, but for the person I am today, no.
So do you think that little girl would be able to, like, if she had not gotten that pain or the issues she went through, do you think you'd still be the same person as you are today?
There's not a chance.
No. So would it be fair to say that even for that girl, you wanted to take care of her and love her and make sure she was not, like she was feeling safe at least, and she was not going through that hard time? Knowing that, would you still rather be who you are today? Or would you have wished that none of that would have happened and you were more like maybe didn't have that knowledge today?
That sucks to answer because I wouldn't want her to go through that again, but I would not want to change it. Yeah.
So in many ways, I'm glad you've been touched because it's super important. And I get touched by you being touched as well. And would you say that this girl, no matter what she went through, in some strange ways needed to go through all of that for you to become who you really are today?
Yes, 100%.
So probably one of the worst educations a little girl could have, but probably also one of the strongest ones. And the most powerful ones. And that little girl deserves so much love and so much gratitude for carrying herself. And she had the power to carry her through to today. And she's still here. She's just looks slightly older and much, much, much wiser. I mean, all the things that she went through, and she thought she couldn't go through any of it. And she was afraid, and she had fear and frustration and felt wrong and shame. But yet, she's still here and she's thriving. And what a journey. I mean, crazy journey. But somehow it's exactly what's supposed to happen.
It definitely feels it's hard to see when you're in it. I mean, you can't really see when you're in it. And I thought when I started the spirituality stuff, I was going to have all my questions answered. But then it just moved on to the next thing. Like, damn it.
Yeah, and I think that's maybe the most dangerous thing about religion is that if there's any book out there telling you that they have all the answers, it's not it's lying to you, or you're gullible. So maybe it's pretending to have that, but you're not wanting to see nothing. I keep saying, and I guess it's part of my spiritual practice, the only thing we know is that we know nothing. And the things that we know might not be the things that we know in 1,000 years. So everything that we would say is fact today can be totally changed in a couple of 100 years. And so we can just be sure of that we don't know anything. And that's kind of nice to think about. Because when we think about that, well, I only know what I know, and from what the knowing that I have, I trust that what I do is valuable, is the right thing to do. But you'll see a lot in politics on the left and the right, and they're so righteous and they know this is factual. And I even see myself doing this sometimes, being like much more on the right. I'll say like, I definitely know I'm saying the right things because it's according to science, it's factual. And yet I'm sitting here claiming I can talk to dead people and see the future and the past. Some people be like, this guy is very insane. It's not possible. That's not very factual, Mark. Everything we know from science is saying the opposite, well, except the newer science, if people were to read that, actually. But in quantum physics, we know that this is possible. But in our own physics mindset and the old world, we would say that's insane. That's not possible. You're like a witch and you should be burned on the stake. So, but I just, feel that everything that we believe, we make things give meaning, right? That everything that you believe right now, you found spirituality, and it could have been anything. I could have been a priest sitting here and we would talk about something else, right? But we would still probably talk about the awakening and how, scripture would say something, or the Quran, or any religion would say, or some Buddhist monk somewhere would have said something, and you were like, that's so profound, and it woke me up and it made me a better person, and now I feel love, and I don't have shame anymore. So it's not really what you awaken to, it's more that the awakened feeling, things we give feeling, matters to us. And yeah. But do you use, like you said, you started journaling, do you use like laws of attraction to anything, for anything to?
So my friend taught me about declarations. It's affirmations, full affirmations.
Yeah.
But deeper, it's like focused on the thing that you're lacking, right? The opposite, and then what other people, I don't know. It's the same thing. It's putting the belief, the feeling, and the word. I think when you put that together, it feels super powerful. It's been a lot about me not feeling like a leader, but feeling like inside I feel like I'm a leader, but on the outside, not so much yet. So I have been saying my affirmations, not often, but really there've been times where I've believed it, and then I can carry that belief out further more often. So I think it's super powerful.
Okay, I find that super interesting because there's two points in that. You haven't done it a lot. When you said that, there was an energy that you were telling yourself a little bit of shame. I should have done it more. Did I pick up on that?
Yeah.
And instead, we can be curious about, why didn't you do it more? If we say it's okay that you didn't do it, who cares? It's your life, you have plenty of time to have fun. What would happen if you said that? If you used it even more?
I feel like I would be able to embody that faster.
So you not doing that, I'm guessing since you wrote it down and you practice it, it's something you want, yeah? And you put it down and you wrote it down and you're telling yourself in your shame that, yeah, I should have done it more. I'm not good enough. I want to do it, I'll do it soon. But what I find more interesting is that what's holding you back, because that's definitely something about if you were to get that thing that you want, what would be the most scary thing about that?
What would be scary about it? I feel like I'm scared of how much I have to change, but I don't know what would be scary about being my authentic self. Like, it would be amazing.
Right. So what do you think is holding you back from doing this every day? If you already know that it will get you closer to your goal, and from what you said right now, there's probably something more behind it, and we can see if we can figure it out. But you also said that what's scary about being your authentic self and changing. The change could be, a little bit scary if you're not ready for it. But since you put your intention in writing about it more so you can manifest it more and be your authentic self, then the change is just a natural process of you actually doing it. So I'm wondering, is it just basic procrastinating, what you wanted to do? Or is it because you're so busy enjoying everything else that you're doing?
That's a good question. I feel like if I say I'm going to change, I feel like I will change, and then I have to actually start doing it.
And how does that feel like you have to start doing that? That must feel tough or easy or hard, frustrating?
It feels tough. I've said before that I don't like doing things for the first time by myself. And I feel like this is like the one thing I have to do by myself. So
can I remind you that little girl that just was mistreated and never, think that she'll make it this far, and with all that shame that you did all of that yourself. Yes, you got help now and then, but you were behind the wheel all the time. And so doing this one thing that's something you want should be a little bit easier statistically.
Yeah. I'm scared. I'm always scared.
For good reason. Because you found out being scared and being shameful all your life got you this far. So that's the best idea since sliced bread to your brain, right? It's literally what made you come this far is being in fear and having shame, but then transforming all the bad emotions constantly over and over, finding new ways to cope with it. Now it's spirituality, but it actually seems to be working better than all the other things that you tried. So it's logic that you would have fear about something because you would tell yourself, this is what I want to let go of shame. And that's been so fucking tough to do. So, but you did it. You did it. And still you have shame sometimes now and then, but you're aware of it and you're aware of the fear that's connected to it. So anything you're fearful of, from the little girl inside of you, you're going to do it. The only one holding you back is probably, and it's more of a question, could it be that little girl not holding you back, but it's the grown-up version of you thinking, I don't know if I can deal with it, with that little girl and all the unforeseen things? Because it does sound authentic and playful when you think about what you actually want to do, and you can be authentic and you can be yourself and you can do all the things that you want. That sounds super playful to me. That sounds like your inner child saying, I want to do this. So I guess it's not her holding herself back. It's someone like a parent that's taking care of her, telling her, let's slow down. Let's not go too crazy. Things can go wrong and we probably have something unforeseen. And that's to me, at least something very logical to have installed in your operating system because it has always worked for you.
Yeah, I feel like I've been told I'm too much sometimes.
And I hope you are. Because if you're not too much for someone at some point, you're not doing a very good job in trying to help people, or change people, or transform yourself. You're supposed to trigger people around you. People are supposed to love you deeply and be super triggered. If both of that is true, you have success. You're doing something. Some people's emotions are not ready to be shifted around you, and other people's emotions are like, yeah, you're stepping up just like I did, or just like I want, If my Instagram profile has started to become quite big now, and I have haters and fans, and that's how it is. You won't have, everyone will not love you. If you say something that's controversial and transformative, people won't love you all the time. They'll super frustrated. And if you have, especially if you're a psychic medium as well, which you also have some of the gifts for doing, right? But when you are that, people are like, but since you have all the answers, well, tell me this. And I'm like, first of all, you haven't hired me. I'm not an oracle. I tell you the things that I get in, but like the winning lottery numbers, you have to find someone else for that.
Yeah.
So if you have people triggered and someone hates you and someone thinks you're not doing a good enough job and someone loves you at the same time, you're doing a pretty good job already. If everyone loves you and they just, Tara, she's so lovely, there's never an issue. She's always doing what I expect. Sounds very nice, but it just doesn't sound like you're actually being your 100% you then.
Yeah. And that's the problem. I want everybody to love me.
Everyone loves you. everyone loves you, even the people triggered by you. If they're so triggered by you that they don't love you anymore, it's because they don't love themselves and that part of them that you represent. So everyone around you loves you. And that's just a fact. And if you can't see it or feel it, it's because you think you lack the talent of noticing that people love you. But in fact, you're not supposed to see that people love you all the time, because that will just make your ego too big and too crazy. You'll be like, I don't have to do anything. Everybody loves me all the time. Yeah, that's actually true. But you actually also have wants and needs in your life. If you as a and the probably only reason why you have this pleasing, which I also have, so I'm totally mirroring myself, but the only reason you have this loving part of you that wants everyone to love you is because you don't love you, but you do. Yeah, and you noticed you're starting to learn how to love yourself in many more ways. But since you already love you, it's an old story repeating itself when you say, I just want everyone to love me. And that's also you not allowing them to go through the same pain that got you this far and this wise. So them not loving you maybe is their path of getting harsh lessons, of losing Tara in the life and thinking she's a bitch and like she can just go to whatever. And, you know, I don't even want to be friends with her. She's so triggering and she's not respecting me and blah, 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 blah. And 5 years down the line, she's like, oh, I should apologize to Tara. I just can't get my act together to do it. I'm so sad I lost her. I don't know what it was. Was it me? Was it her? You probably know who it was, but it's not important. It's most important thing is when they're ready for you, they'll come back. If they will never be ready for you, they won't come back. And guess what? There's an open space for someone else to be there. So when we're afraid of losing someone or not being loved, it comes from a lack mindset. So something in me is afraid of losing because I'm afraid of losing something in myself, losing something in others, losing love. But when we know love is a constant, even when we die, we go to so much constant love that we are not wanting to come back. Most near-death experiences I've seen, people don't want to come back. It's always the higher self or God or St. Peter or whatever you want to believe in, that tells them you have to go back. You're not done yet. Your karmic calculations are not done yet. You still have so much to do, so much to offer. And some people even choose, when they find out the emotions of everyone else in their life that they thought that didn't love them, and you found out that one thing you commented on a dress that was meant to be very nice, but that actually changed the other person thinking was a bad thing and changed their whole life the next 10 years of never feeling good enough just because you had one comment about a dress, and you say, you know what, I want to go back and karmic make this right and love her for that dress and support her for that dress. Not only that, but not even about the dress. I just want to come back. I know I could die now and be happy being on the other side and, you know, maybe start an extra life to learn more. But if I just spend 10 more years supporting my brother, sister, or another person, I want to do that just for their karmic to be released. Because now on the other side, I can see how many lives they have to live to let go of that. But if I participate in this life with them right now, I can see instead of 125 lives, they just need 7 lives for the same lesson. And it only cost me 10 years on earth, which is like nothing in heaven. Why not? Start understanding all these things. And, you know, it doesn't have to be as factual as I'm portraying it to be, but that's just my opinion. That's the way I see everything. I don't have the truth. I just have my truth. And some people resonate with that. But I still believe, like, if you are afraid of love, you're afraid of loving yourself. And you're afraid of what if people actually love the full version of you. And that's what you talked about before, the authentic version of you. For you to become that, I believe that you have to there's an invitation that you release all of the worry of what other people think of you, even if they think you're crazy, even if they think you're so wrong, but they would stay in your life anyways. Just as a reminder to keep loving you, keep trusting, keep being authentic, because the universe put them there to test you. How can we make her stronger? Maybe if someone next to her will keep asking her, how about now? Are you done being you now? So we other people can get some space, and you can be like, no, I'm not. I'm still just me, authentic me. If you don't feel there's any space, you're welcome to leave. I hope you won't leave, but you know, I'm not stopping you. I'm not holding you back. You should do what you want.
Yeah.
And this way we can be free. Everyone can be free in this world. And it's supposed to hurt and it's supposed to be annoying. So going back to the little girl who really wants to be her authentic self and who really wants to just, you know, show the world who she is. All she's asking you to connect with her every day, writing something down. If that helps, I don't know if that's the thing, but you know. And so if you're being pulled towards that, you could also say your resistance towards that maybe is because that's not the answer to getting there. But it could also be, I haven't tried to do it every day for 3 months. So that's also an option to try out. When I started setting the intention around this, at least I had focus on it every day. That's what I wanted. But if you're not in the situation where you are where you want to be, you have to figure out the steps to get there. Usually it involves, especially if you're highly empathic, which you are, and you have spiritual gifts, there's probably some kind of fear or resistance because it feels big to go there. It feels like a big chore or big step.
Yes.
And maybe some worry about why this step is so big. I don't even know where to start. Like, should I do this first or that first? And I would say it's the same attracting the perfect husband or perfect wife. I've had this day because I felt down today. I was like feeling so lonely myself. I don't know, I'm not lonely. I know I'm not alone. And I felt the feeling of being lonely, but all it actually was when I dug into it and I tried to understand it, it was the neediness of someone else coming and taking care of me so I don't have to think about how hard it is to be me. So with some self-pity, some victimness, and think about it, if I went on Tinder today, if you attract what you are, if I attracted the woman that I wanted today, she wouldn't really be interested in me. She would be interested in the drama that was in me, the imbalance of me not giving myself space and not spending the time writing a gratitude journal or spending the time doing the prayer or spending the time to do a little bit of meditation and get back in my body. Luckily, going to the gym helped me out a lot, but also because there's a lot of breathing involved in that. So I kind of did breath work on the cross trainer and, lifting heavy weights, you get release of endorphins and all these things. So that helped me out a little bit, but often we just, when we don't set the intentions and we don't try to work through it, like you are like, I should have probably write that more down, but who cares? That's connected to shame. So let's forget that. You shouldn't have done anything. You did exactly what you're supposed to do. So we could have this conversation and maybe someone out there, somewhere behind that camera is watching this and understands, wait a minute, that's me. Maybe he's speaking to me right now. And yes, I am. And yes, you are too, Tara. We're trying to help people by sharing what's on our hearts and experience. But would you think that if you did something about it, would it help you? Or do you have another strategy that you think might work better since you're not showing up for yourself on the part where you want to be more authentic? And
yeah, I mean, I've made a plan. I just got back from BAMP, but I'm just going to give myself 10 minutes of meditation because I never give myself time. I have kids, I have a husband, I have so much going on, but I can do 10 minutes every day. And if I can get more, great. But I can do anything for 10 minutes.
Three is fine.
Yeah.
It's better than no 10 minutes.
Yeah, and that's also the struggle, like you said, is with my religious background, also gifts, like I've never thought of talking to a psychic or like anything like that, but I honestly believe in these things. Like I've met beautiful people and I've had beautiful experiences. So that's also like a big thing. I don't even know what it is yet. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun learning. And also I get down. It's been so beautiful and so good.
Yeah. And I think also, like I said before, spirituality isn't about doing all the time. It's the way that you show up for yourself in life. Give yourself some grace. Give other people some grace instead of judging them. Every time you judge something, you're like, oh, wait a minute, 3 fingers pointing back at me. Okay, so this is me. It's not the other person. The other person's just a mirror. Yes, they have their own lives, but they're supposed to be here right now in this moment, in this situation. So I could get triggered or frustrated or whatever it is that I'm in. So really, everyone's helping everyone all the time. And, I'd see all these people condemning. I wasn't, Charlie Kirk was amazing in many aspects. I love what he did. And he was great at letting people speak and all this. I didn't agree on a lot of the things he spoke about Israel and things like that, but I did see him come around in the end, and that's beautiful as well. But I don't have to agree with him to unconditionally love him. And even if I found him sometimes to be a little bit know-it-all or something like that, it's probably me that I'm mirroring. So it's probably my know-it-all, and it's probably my stance on some politics that I think that he wasn't right about because I researched something that it sounds like he didn't. But how can I judge someone that ahead of me in some areas or behind me in some other areas. He's just an extension of everyone here in the world anyways. And especially now when we see how much purpose there was in his death and how it's transforming the world. Some would say to the worse and some will say for the better. And I mean, there's a lot of people that spoke to him and that was very harsh and very vulgar in the way that spoke to him. And that would trigger me a lot. And I would say like, oh my God, I'm so glad I'm not one of these people out there like insane. And like I would judge for good reason, I feel, because I'm not grown up like that. I have a different upbringing. I have a different way of speaking to people, but they're also a mirror of me. And people are like enjoying that he died. And I get so triggered by it. Why would you enjoy anything that's so satanic? Enjoying anybody who died, it doesn't matter who it is, that you wish other people harm is so satanic and so dark. I mean, and I know we're just people, but in the end, not everyone learns karma the way that I did in my upbringing. Some people need to learn it now. They're fired from their job for saying something on social media. It's insane. Some people are in prison in the UK for saying their opinion about something. That's non-harmful, but apparently the world changed and anything can be harmful. Even if you think a bluebird is red, then it can be harmful to some people apparently. So what I meant to say is that still this insanity going on in the world is just a mirror of ourselves. And I know it sounds insane because where the hell am I so insane in my body, my mind? I can't even imagine. But I want to remind myself and others watching, we would not recognize it if we didn't have that within us. So if I was to tell you about an alien and I had to explain it to you, but I saw some new things that didn't exist in this world, no matter how I told the story, I could only reference it to things that you know of. And since you know of it, the way that I explain it to you about the alien, you say the alien looks like a lizard and then had a giraffe neck and then a zebra tail and then it had like shoes like a human. And you'll be like, oh, okay, wait a minute. But eventually you'll buy into it and the references work for you. You can kind of understand it from that perspective. You wouldn't understand it because you didn't see what I saw, but you would understand it from that perspective and you'd be like, but that's so insane. They must be bad people with that combination of body parts. That's not going to be a person I want to meet. But you're already judging all these things. But what I wanted to say is that your brain can't imagine what doesn't suit your beliefs or something that you note and reference. If anybody in any political opinion reference the left or the right to something being bad, it doesn't matter how I explain the person or how I make you perceive that part of a person, you would always see what you want to see. And the things that triggers you is always going to be a mirror of what triggered you in your childhood or in your history or like in your upbringing or right now or what your friends said once or anything. So I believe anytime we have resistance, it's because there's a story hidden there. So if I tell you about a story about something that you dislike, about a person or someone who did something, I saw this man down the street and he was just beating his wife. Like first he was like beating her with a shoe and and you'd be like, oh no, that's a horrible husband. What the hell is he doing? Did you call the police? It's like, no, but I forgot to tell you the beginning of the story. Actually, she was trying to shoot him and he was escaping and she kept shooting him and shot him in the foot. So she shot his foot off and then he was beating her with the shoe from it because she was going to kill him if he didn't, try to take the gun from her. And you'll be like, oh my God, that's even more horrible. Is he okay? The person you just hated in the first story, you can be showing compassion for in the next and be like, no, wait a minute, you don't understand the story. The only reason why she tried to shoot him was because he raped all their children. Oh my God, the guy deserved it. You can change opinions and just like that because it depends on the context. And when we start meeting people like this, when we start meeting judgment like this, understanding you will not have the full story, however you judge this person. It's impossible to have the full story. And when we start getting curious about the story, we have a tendency to have leading questions. So the man, he was beating her with the shoe. Did she do anything to him? Or was he just a really bad husband? And we give them maybe two choices, but there could be a third one. But we're not just exploring that. So we stop asking open questions. We ask closed questions like it can be yes or no, or yeah, he was like that, or she was like that. But we start having spirituality in our lives, we can ask bigger questions. But that sounds crazy. What emotions went through you watching that? Wait a minute, why am I important in this story? No, because you saw the whole story. I just want to know why it's important to you for you sharing this story. It's really an interesting story, but We don't know what happened over there. What happened inside of you is more important because you're the storyteller. So you either judge one of them or you don't judge any of them, depending on how much awareness you have. And so every story will change now. If everyone was open to understanding stories like it's an interpretation of whoever watched it, the observer, like we talked about in quantum physics, the observer saw something and he actually helped manifest it. Especially if he retells the story, now the story be like that. So the left will tell the story about Charlie Kirk getting what he deserved, and the right will tell him like he was a hero and he never hurt anyone, and he always spoke nicely to everyone. And so somewhere in between that, truth might be, or maybe neither. Maybe he was both. And so, in this understanding, we have to understand if we meet every person in our lives that is triggering us or we have fun with, we meet them with this open-heartedness. And it's hard. It's hard to do all the time, but having awareness that I'm able to do it and even practicing it sometimes is enough. It's like the book under the pillow.
I'm gonna start sleeping with books under my pillow.
Yeah, you should try it.
Thought about it before.
Yeah. See, so maybe it's already in your intuitive mindset. Like you actually knew that that's possible. Even holding a book, we call it photometrics, I think, something in clairvoyance. So we will get an envelope with a picture inside, and we just hold our hand on it. I don't think it's actually needed to hold your hand. Depends on how you work with your intuition. But holding it as an intention, this is what I'm tuning into. Like I would sit in front of a person tuning into them, or I would kind of imagine the person in front of me tuning into them. But it's kind of the same, and you would start describing the person in the envelope. You can actually do this with a book. Ask your husband to pick any book from the shelf, and then just maybe, in a bag or something like that, hand it to you, or you close your eyes and you sit with it and be like, and your logic will be like, it's a thick book. I remember having 7 books on the shelf, and blah blah blah. So he can always have fun with that and try to find some book that you cannot calculate, but you start instead trusting like, I have no clue what this book is, but I feel like we're in like this or that and this and that and this that is a great practice. Even pictures of your friends, or even better of his friends or his family members or something like that. You can just write a name of a family member and put it on a paper and fold it, and then you try to, with your intuition, practice if you can tune in. And it's okay to make mistakes, and you'll make many mistakes, but eventually you start understanding when you can he could just agree that he is only allowed to say yes and no. This way it can help you a little bit, so you can feel the energy all the time. So I feel like this is a woman, and he says, yes. Okay. So I feel like she has some blue shoes on, and he's like, I don't know if you're talking about now, yesterday, on the picture, whatever it is. And so he doesn't have to say yes or no, but when everything he knows sounds factual, he can say yes or no. And this way you can kind of feel like, oh, the energy was like this when he said yes. So, okay, so the energy is more over here when I work like this, and you get better and better at that intuitive reading, and eventually just do it on anything, any living person, any book or thing that you have in a house. You can start reading the energies of that. Yeah, so that's something to have fun with, at least. But tell me, Tara, if you could see yourself with all the things that you've done and all the work you've done until now, because I know we spoke about breath work. That's one of the things where you start. Like, you can facilitate breath work. That's something like your healer skills in you have the ability to actually facilitate that and be very outward going, and just like here, you're very, very patient when I speak a lot, and definitely I should be better at shutting up. But I want to ask you, of all the things we spoke about and all the things of the path that you feel you're on right now, I know there's a few things you're saying you're not doing that enough or something like that, but let's just forget that for now. And then to say, like, what is it that do you feel a path that you want to walk? Have you found something that intrigues you enough or makes you passionate?
Yeah, the breath work. And the first time I tried it, I just wanted to tell everybody about it. It opened me up. It was like quite a spiritual experience, and I wanted to shout it from the rooftops. So I went to facilitator training, and I've been practicing for a while. And that's the thing about the breath work too. I like to play around with it a little bit, and that's the message I got, was that the breath work is man-made also, so I can play around with it. And I've had some really awesome experiences experiences myself and then facilitating other people. Yeah, so that's something I really would like to share.
So if anyone watching this in Utah I would say, call Tara and say, when are you doing your next breathwork session? And so you can facilitate that. I think that would be amazing for anyone participating.
Definitely a beautiful experience.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. What does it give you for people that don't know what breathwork is? How do you feel during it and after it? And what really is breathwork to you?
Breath work is, I'd say we're doing it all the time, but when you learn how to pair it with things, like this specific style of breath work is designed to open you up. So maybe have you sit with yourself and it's going to bring up what you need in the moment. So for some people it's healing, some people it like brings up trauma, some is extreme joy, love, openness, connection. That's what I love about it so much, is that I can't really describe what it is because it's so many different things. So obviously you need to be open to it. It's not for everybody. If you're not open for it, you're never going to get something out of it.
How do you think people cannot be open for it? Like when are people not open to it?
Around here, it's a newer thing that people haven't heard about. And so it's like, is this an okay thing to do? Or like, what is it? And even then that's hard to describe. I have some friends that would come because I invited them, and that's good sometimes. But also, if you're just there like, okay, I'm doing this thing for you, more likely you're not open.
Yeah.
With open heart, open mind.
Yeah. So people should participate in it to be curious about themselves and not just think that they're doing it because you're excited about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I think maybe most people are open to it. And if you have a friend that did try it and, for your sake, I think that person might be in a pleaser mindset, trying to be liked by participating in something and hoping to be recognized for their kindness. But in reality, I think underneath that, there's an attraction towards maybe this is a good thing for me, but I don't know, maybe this scares me, maybe I don't know. And then in it, they don't want to take responsibility because they feel out of control. And that's the whole point of breathwork, is feeling out of control and releasing that control to be more in the now. And maybe that person couldn't handle that. And that's okay. That's the first step of breathwork, is allowing yourself to see, oh, that was a little bit scary. Yeah, maybe I should do it again. I mean, because everyone else enjoyed it and maybe I wasn't ready for it. Now I know what it is. Now it's like going to a massage the first time. And if you don't know what type of massage you want, that's just massage you either hard or too soft and be like, it didn't really do it for me. It's because you have to tell them if you want harder or softer. It's like, it was too hard or it's too soft. You kind of have to know what you like and you don't like. And you go to a Thai restaurant, try to order something you can't pronounce and expect something great. It might not be. It might be super spicy and you will never go to a Thai place again. So it's the same when people are participating in anything. I still think you did the right thing of inviting the person, and I still think it was the right thing of them participating in it. They maybe have not seen the benefits from it yet, or needed some resistance or trauma mindset, like, oh, that wasn't really nice, that was too hard, or that was strange, or I didn't really like it. It's all part of their journey.
And also, I would say try it 3 times, because the first time for me is so freaking scary, and then the second time it's like just a review, and by the third time you kind of know what's going on. And you can really open up. Yeah,
and the funny thing about breathwork is, like, if we have to look at it logically, you're just breathing. It shouldn't be anything mystical, anything witchcraft, anything. You breathe, you hold your breath, blow it out again, you hold your breath, you breathe in, you hold it. Like, that's basically breathwork. And so it's literally how you live your daily life, because everyone breathes. It's just a very conscious way of breathing, and therefore, because of the oxygen intake, it's a very intense way of breathing, and you will feel relaxed, you will feel releases, you can feel pain in your body. And pain is just the body holding something back. It hasn't released yet, so you're breathing through it. You can actually feel where the pain is, and you can try to breathe into that place where the pain is, and you can ease out that pain. The pain doesn't come from breathing. It comes because it's already there. And with your breathing, you're actually starting to heal that. And when it's like going to the doctor and you cut yourself and it's an open wound and you're like, oh my God, you're hurting me with the needle when you're trying to sew it together. It's like, it's kind of necessary because we have to close the wound. And that's how you could in some ways see breath work. It's helping you heal without a needle. But at least it's like, yeah, there's a lot of release needed. And I would say when people understand breath work, especially women, when they're giving birth, when they have practiced breath work before, like giving birth is going to be so much easier, less painful than ever. And I don't know that because I only know it from other women. I mean, breath work is pretty much more or less you learn. That's like close to the same thing to manage pain when you're pregnant and you're giving birth. In reality, it's like something we can all do and all benefit from. And there's science, there's nothing that says, oh, breath work is bad for you. I can't find one thing that it's like meditation. There's not one bad case of meditation. There's not one bad case of breath work. Yes, sometimes people pass out because they get too much oxygen, not too much, but they get a lot of oxygen to their brain and it can feel overly stimulating and almost make them dizzy or something like that. But that's fine. You just lie down and we start feeling dizzy. If you're that type of person, you start lying down before you start the breath work. Yeah, that's why it's good to have a facilitator like Tara that's tried it before.
That's true. Being facilitated is such a special experience. I try to do it on my own.
There's something to it when you have like a coach that helps you through it and can see what's going on with you and they're a little bit intuitive. They can come sometimes even help you lie better down or put a blanket over you or whatever is needed to assess the moment in that. And also I've seen some people almost like doing spasms in their sleep, like they pass out a little bit and they go like doing spasms, but that's a natural response for the body. But it can feel like, a little bit like if you're religious, it would feel like, oh, some devil is taking over my body. No, you passed out. You don't even remember you doing that. It's just literally your nervous system resetting.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. There's a lot of different things that can happen. And that's what's really exciting about it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and the guy that really has pushed it a lot, Wim Hof, the Dutch guy, also called Iceman, has shown like they've given him like I think it was like salmonella bacteria or something like that, like really tough bacteria, and he didn't get sick from it.
No.
And they thought he was like a magical being because he was doing breath work. The reason why it's called Iceman is because he can walk in like minus 10 degrees and he can swim in minus 10 degrees, where most people would suffer some kind of like a cold shock and not being able to swim or anything. He's just breathing through it and knows exactly how to keep himself calm. And they're like, this guy is so special, like it can only be him and we have to study him. It's like, no, give me 100 people. I'll train them all. Give me 2 days. I'll train them all. And in the end of I don't remember, 1 day or 2 days, but something like that. And he trained a whole crew of people in the same technique, and none of them got sick from the bacteria. And the other study, because they took the other half, they gave them bacteria and everyone got sick. So really goes to show that it's a crazy immune booster and balances out your nervous system, your immune system. Yeah, there's a lot of benefits to it. So it's a no-brainer trying to discover. Yeah, so I'm glad you found that too. It really is amazing. Yeah. Do you do it all day, every day, or do you like once a week, or how often do you do it?
I'm doing one-on-one with people right now. I'm trying to do it during the day when my kids are at school, so that's been a little bit different. But then once a month in South Weaver, we do it with a big group. And it's really powerful. Really, the connection with a group is so fun.
Yeah, and that there must be a whole community after where people talk what they experienced. Even for people who are seeking a community, especially coming out of another Mormon church, Christianity, or whatever we can call it. I mean, if some people come out of that thinking, oh, this is crazy and like something we shouldn't do or whatever. But in fact, it's just another community where they have something else in common. And often a lot of loving people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, anyone nearby you, they should definitely reach out to you and like do that. It's super powerful. Do you do it one-on-one online as well?
I haven't done it online. It's a more active breath. And so I would have to have done it in person with you at least once before we.
Yeah, for the right techniques. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea.
But
I did.
one day I see it online for sure.
Yeah. Because it is possible. I've seen it before, and
Mhm.
as long as you've been describing, and as long as you lie down, you put a safe space around you, and the camera could be like this, and you can be lying on the bed here, and the facilitator consider. I've done that with past life regression, where it's also a meditation where I lie with a coach, lie down, and I go through a meditation in me, and then he would guide me through that. I've even done it for people myself, like guiding them in a meditation as well, and it's super powerful. But with breath work, I would say it's also good to lie down if you're like haven't tried it too much before. And I find it more calming and more focused. Also, I like to, every time I do breath work, I always want my arms over my head like this. I always like, especially when I hold my breath and I want my chest to like really expand, and I go like holding my chest and trying to expand it even more. And I just feel like it works in my body and my legs, like everything just gets much better. Any traumatic, like a day today would have been a perfect day for me to do breath work. But I just went to the gym instead, but it would have been the perfect day because releasing anger, frustration, fear, all these things, super important. Yeah. So is that your plans for now? It's like trying to focus on that some more?
Yes, that's the plan for now.
That's a great plan. I look forward to you doing even more, and I'm glad you're doing the one-on-one on people. I hope you get some through here. If people want to, I'm not ending the podcast just yet, but soon enough. I just want to make sure that people want to reach out to you. How do they do that on Instagram or?
I'm on Instagram.
What about Facebook? Something like that?
I'm also on Facebook. I don't even know if I know
your handle.
Media is newer to me. I mean, I'm been on.
You can send it to me. I'll put it in the description.
I just thought that you definitely shared a lot of things that were super helpful for me that I've been trying to work through, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, because I actually wanted to, because one of my challenges is sometimes telling people what it is that I actually do.
Mm.
And so that's also, why, I don't know if you remember, but I actually asked you if we could somehow explain to people with your words what it is that at least you got out of it, and what you feel like, what is the session and what are people getting out of it? Like, what did you get out of this few sessions we did?
Yeah, I got a lot of encouragement towards some of the things that I was focusing on. You brought up things. The very first session we had, I didn't say a word. I was like, I don't know what this is. I'm not helping it. But it was obvious with the things you said that there was something real happening, and it opened me up to some pathways that I've been thinking about. This breath work, that was a while ago. So this breath work I was scared of it and also really excited about it. And being a leader, you opened me up to more of that as well. It's something I see inside myself, and then having you say it out loud. Now I've said it out loud a few times, and it feels so good. I feel like you've allowed me to maybe speak up about the things that are on my mind that I haven't been able to speak up about before. And it's been really healing. I do feel like I come into this super open, and I can feel a lot of love, and I feel a lot of trust between us. So I really appreciate it.
Me too. I'm glad that you asked for help online, and I'm glad I stepped in. It's also so interesting following your journey from the first time that we had a conversation. And like you said, like you were closed off in a way that you were excited about it. You were interested in, the session and everything, but also that I could see you opening up as I spoke. And the thing that you say that I also, I do in pretty much every session. I talk about things that I'm not able to know any other way. And any skeptic will be like, you're probably guessing. But the things I've said to you, I couldn't have said to any other person, because some of the advice that comes now and then is often a reference to something I've said before, because that's an easier way for them to show me. And how it works, I speak to people that don't know. I speak to my spirit guides that then talks to your spirit guides, that tells me what you need to hear or rehear, and guidance to what tools you can use to get there, and what can be released and what are you doing a really great job on. So it's kind of like being seen not for on the camera because I can do it without a camera. I can do it people just like you saw it. I only saw your message on Facebook and I did a voice message right after, like 1 minute after. I just like had no, only thing I went in, I clicked on your photo, zoomed in, saw your eyes and be like, okay, this is her. I could have read your name and be like repeating a few times, be like, okay, Tara, yes, okay. And then be like doing the same voice message. So I'm not really doing other things that the things that I'm taught, which is like saying the things that I see, feel, and hear. And then it flows through me and I have no clue how it lands on the other end, especially not in a voice message where it was like very spontaneous for you. But I just felt like you need a call. You needed someone, like it was a cry for help. And I felt like you needed someone to really catch you there, or at least tell you, we see you and your health. And it's okay. You're doing a great job. You're going somewhere, and don't worry. There's a plan to the madness. And so in my sessions, I just feel like I try to say things that I have no clue of is real or not. And I might ask now and then, does it resonate? Doesn't it resonate? If it doesn't, I'll move on. But I had many, like I said before, earlier in our talk, people coming back to me way later and saying, by the way, you also said something about this, that happened. So even if it doesn't resonate now, it can resonate later. I don't know how it works, but it works. I know kind of how it works, but it's not important how to know how the light is turned on when you click the switch. All you need to know is that's going to be light when you do it. That's what you need. And for people who wants to try intuitive things themselves, remember when you play around with energies, always cleanse yourself, always meditate a little bit first, always set an intention where like, I only want to talk to loving energies and entities or people or angels or guides that serves my highest and best good. Anything that doesn't serve my highest and best good, I reject. And so this way you would know when something is spoken or shown to you that it's always, you would feel it when you've done it a few times. It always comes with an immense, intense amount of love, especially when you're right on the money about what you said. Tara's seen me in a few times when I say something, I get touched by it. And that's because I'm getting so close to the truth that I have to say, right? That the way it's delivered or the subject is delivered, I get touched by it. Sometimes I even half cry saying it, but that's just the way they work through me. And I try to dull it down like a little bit because it can be a little bit like I'm not supposed to sit and cry in the sessions, but it's more what I have to say that's important. But it's just because sometimes it comes with so immense amount of love for us understanding. And when there's a team, where it comes from a family or you're in like DNA, like a long strand of DNA through your family. So there's a whole generation of people standing behind the guide that tells me to show me this is like something that resonates deeply with them. It comes not from just one person. It comes from a choir of people saying, you are good enough. You are loved. Trust us. Don't doubt, because the doubt will only remove you from listening to us. And so in this way, it's just magical, I would say, to be able to sit there in a session and share with people. So I appreciate that you wanted to do this, Tara, and that you have so much to share. And I can't wait for you to unfold whatever happens in the future for you. There's definitely more of, in my view of you, there's so much more intuitive work that's gonna go on, and you're gonna trust yourself even more. And that's like, I don't know, they're showing me that it's so great that you have your husband that has like both feet on his ground, and that he's, I've never done a session for him, to my knowledge, but there's something to that really helps you he allows you to be a little bit crazy, and that's important because you're not crazy. He's just much more grounded, and it comes through as a beautiful thing that there's a lot of gratitude to him, allowing you to be the way that you are, the road you're on right now. And we're like, for women out there or anyone, our partners are not necessarily supposed to support us on our spiritual journey. But when we find someone who does, that's amazing and beautiful as well. And it means that there's much more to be achieved in that relationship, because as you grow, they have seen you growing, and they kind of recognize what it does to you and how it makes you happier. And that's a very beautiful transformation. To other people, it would be a lot of resistance and a lot of people trying to avoid you digging too much into that because they're afraid of losing you to that. But when there's more trust, you would understand that you cannot lose anyone to anything. If it's meant for them, they are going that path. And if you keep trying to get them off that path, you might actually doing them a disservice, no matter what it is. But I usually always say, you can try to believe in everything, but try to stay away from Satanism, because usually it lures you in with beautiful things, and it is eventually challenge you to become super ill or giving up things that you wish you never had. And it's not to be played around with, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion and my experience. So always keep it loving and always keep it light, and set an intention before that you ask for your spirit guide to protect you and your guardian angels, or Jesus, whatever you believe in, that you trust that process. So is there anything else, Tara, we should just touch ground on, or do you feel like we've been...
Yeah, I think we've touched all of it. We did a lot. I have a lot to think about and work on. Does everybody have like generations of angels or whatever with them?
Everyone has a guardian angel, and everyone has 1 to 3 spirit guides, sometimes even more. It depends on what project you're on and what you're doing. People are working on huge projects that needs a lot of talent, and some people even call in that talent indirectly. I actually had a client once. I tend to attract. This was in my IT business before I was finished with my education, and he called me and he needed some help with his Mac setup. And when I'm there, I'm like looking at his interior design, and I get the sense of him. I'm like, I have this sense of you're actually being quite spiritual, but you work in this very corporate world. And he's like, yes, that's very accurate. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It just feels like, because I'm actually attending a clairvoyant education right now as a psychic. And he's like, that's very interesting, because you won't believe who told me to call you. I'm like, I don't know. I would guess someone, because I felt someone was in the room, like an energy was in the room of someone who passed, but like not a ghost, but someone on the other side. But there was a presence that I kind of knew, but I haven't met in person type of a vibe. And he was like, I know it sounds crazy, and I don't know how much of a clairvoyant you are, but I'm working very closely with Steve Jobs on this project, and the owner, inventor of Apple, and I'm working very closely with him right now, and he actually told me your company name, and so I looked it up, finding it funny, because it's still called Mac Genie. But genie, not like a blue genie, but like a genius, because in America you have the genius bar, and we don't have that in Denmark. So I was trying to make like a Danish version of that. So it's actually spelled G-E-N-I, because nobody dares to call himself a genius in Denmark, because you have the law of Jante, which is like, don't think that you're better than anyone. That's like a standard opinion of any Dane in Denmark. I don't agree with it, but that's how Danish people are very often. And calling myself a genius about anything, is a very like, don't do that. So I had fun with that name, and he was like finding that funny. And so I was like, that's why. Because I literally just finished the book with Steve Jobs, and I recognized a lot of patterns that also I have, or like values, I would say, more than patterns. And I was a big fan of his when he was alive, the way he would present things, but also was aware that he wasn't always a nice person and such. So it's a big honor for me feeling that energy first, and acknowledging in me that I knew the energy, but I didn't know it like I met the person. And then he then tells me it's him. And then it tells me about his work and all this. And at this point, he was working with 2 extra guides. So I believe 3 extra guides. So I believe he was working total with 5 guides, but 2 of them was his own, and others was like, he could pull information for them and get supportive things. But it doesn't have to be someone who passed in your lifetime. It can be someone in another dimension that could help you. So my guardian angel doesn't look like he's at all from Earth. So again, a guardian angels often are not. So, but he looks very different. He has blue skin, first of all. So that's very strange. When I was younger and I keep seeing this person, and he's very serious, but he's loving, but there's never a smile on his lip, because he's like so focused on making sure nothing happens. And I drew him not knowing what it was, and I showed it to a clairvoyant friend. I'm like, I don't know what this is. I just felt like drawing him. And she's like, oh yeah, that's your guardian angel. I recognize the energy, and I can still see it from now. And then, so I literally painted without my knowledge, painting my own guardian angel. And your guides can be shifted. I don't know if guardian angels does that. I don't think so, but I think you got the guardian angel for the rest of your life. your guides can change compared to, because they're always on the same level as you, little higher, and at some point they're like, they just went, it's like you, the people that you meet, like me, the people that you meet, you can help because they're attracted to you because you have something over you, there's something about you that they're attracted to, and it's usually because they are learning something. So you find people on your own energy. That's why it doesn't make sense to lower your energy for anyone, because you will only do yourself a disservice. But you can rise your energy for everyone and like try to help as good as you can. And then eventually, sometimes you get a change of guides, and then they can work a little bit differently. I think I recently, because I haven't tuned into it a lot, but I think this year I got some other, not in the start of the year, but like during this year, sometime in the beginning, I got a new guide because it communicates differently. I don't see as many visuals, but words just comes out my mouth. And it's more of a feeling sensation more than it's visual. Even the sign that I ask for when I do a session, he's not as clear at doing this. Like it takes a little bit more effort. And I feel like he's saying now it doesn't take that much of an effort actually, but I just wanted to teach you a different way of doing it. So I guess that's it. He's trying to say it that way. It's not, I don't have to spend so much energy on trying to do the same things as before. And of course I got more practice as well, but it really was a big shift suddenly. And it was like, I didn't have any clients for a while, and then boom, I had a lot of clients, and then the way he worked was very differently. So I had to get used to that way of communicating as well. So sometimes they will not speak as much, especially if you're not showing up for yourself and you're not being self-loving. They'll like hold back. They will always be guiding you, but it might be harder to hear them in those situations. So yeah, we can always trust there's someone protecting us constantly. If you knew the work of your guardian angels, you would be like, oh my God, I'm so protected. It's like a superhero parent that always knows what you're thinking, feeling, doing, and knows what you're getting yourself into and trying to avoid the things that are not serving your highest and best good. That's why it's great, like just sending them prayers and like being loving towards them and just appreciating. Not because they won't do it anyways, they will do the exact same, but it's like with anything, you give it energy, you have better connection. So, but yeah. And the only thing I'm not fully sure of how it works is with the animal kingdom. It feels like it's been divided. I don't know, a few hundred years back, it's been divided. And so you no longer are not like reborn as a horse or like a dog or something like that. It feels like, so now you're in the human kingdom and you have all these things, and you used to be in the animal kingdom or something. I don't know exactly how that works. I've been very curious about it because I have a lot to do with animals all the time, and I communicate really good with them. But I don't know the laws of that yet. I've been told a few things, but it feels like it's not fully the truth yet. So maybe it's just me not being allowed to see what it is. But anyways, I can communicate with them, so that's something too. Even trees, even trees, mushrooms and grass and plants and all these things you can learn to feel the energy of, which is a beautiful thing because they just surround us with this immense healing. If I had no clue of what spirituality was, I would say, if I were to guide myself, I would say, spend more time in nature, because your intuition will kick back. It will literally kick in again and be like, wait a minute, someone look at me, and then you notice, oh, there's a deer looking at me. It's like when you're sitting on a train or in transport or in public, and you're like, feels like someone's looking at me, and you're looking back, and someone's like literally looking at you, being like, hello, So yeah, there's so much to learn and explore still. But I'll never get tired of the spirit world. It's so interesting and has so much to offer. And we're so lucky to be here and have this very earthly foundation, and then being somewhat, how can you say, like, we only allowed to peek a little bit through the spirituality because we are spiritual souls having a human experience. But it's just so interesting seeing how it feels to get everything stripped away from you that you took for granted, and then now you can it just seeps in a little bit all the time. And we tell ourselves that life is all about working for other people, making money, and having kids and eating food, and make some career out of yourself, of your life. It's much more than that. It's much, much more. But yeah, we all choose our path some way or another. But I would say following our passions is the best thing. So that's why I look forward to hearing more about your breathwork down the line, see what happens. But I appreciate you. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing all that, and I hope gives people some kind of insight into what it is that I offer when I'm not only doing podcasts and TikToks and Instagrams, but people have seen your energy, and they know.
Well, everybody, I highly recommend Mark. You really like him.
I'm glad.
If you're curious, reach out to him.
Yeah, they're so welcome. And I appreciate you, Tara, for sharing your vulnerability and your honesty and your authenticity with me. And I'll put Tara's information down below in the description if you want to reach out to her. I'll also put my link to my booking if you want to book me for a clairvoyant session. And in general, I'll just say, like, take whatever you can from this podcast and explore it. Be curious and ask questions, even be skeptical of what we've been talking about, because that will give you a journey of finding your own inner truth. And maybe that turns out to be an outer truth as well. I hope for you that you feel in alignment with whatever we said. And if not, that's okay too. You had an experience, and that's all what it's about, sharing. And we don't have to agree on everything. And that's the beautiful thing. We just inspire. And you are so inspiring, Tara, even being here and your energy. I love hanging out with the energy of you. I can't wait what you transform it into be. Not that you have to, but I just know all the potential that's there. And I'm so excited about it.
Thank you.
And let's do this again down the line when you feel like it.
Definitely, I would love to.
Yeah. And thanks, people, for listening and watching, whatever you did. And I'll see you in another episode.